Hello, everyone. Tonight, we are standing in the chilly hush of a forgotten dawn, where the mists cling to the earth like they're afraid of letting go. The ground beneath your feet is soft with the night's condensation, and every breath you take steams faintly in the pale light. Out here on a plain that no map remembers, the wind sighs through ancient grasses that ripple like waves hiding things you probably don't want to meet. You glance down and spot them, tracks fresh ones slicing clean through the wet earth. Three claws at the front, a heel spur at the back, long and narrow, as if made by a creature in a hurry. The prints stretch ahead, vanishing into the mist, and you realize that whatever left them moved fast. Faster than anything you know. You probably won't survive. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you really like what I do here. Also, post your location and local time. I want to see who else is out here wandering these ancient lands with me. Now turn off the lights. Maybe turn on the fan for some soothing noise, and let's get started tonight. You crouch low, fingers brushing the edge of a track, feeling how deep it sinks into the soil. There's weight behind it, sure, but not the slow, heavy tread of a mammoth or a lumbering stegosaur. This creature skimmed the ground, toes barely grazing as it fled or chased. Historians still debate whether these prints belong to a single species of predator or if several swift-footed beasts once ruled these plains. What's certain is that whatever passed here did so moments ago. The air still hums with tension, and you can't shake the sense that something is watching you from beyond the haze. You shuffle forward, the squelch of your boots loud in the quiet. Each step you take sends tiny frogs leaping from your path, vanishing into the reeds. Somewhere to your right, a bird with a voice like a cracked flute lets out a single mournful note. The odd thing about this place, it smells faintly sweet like crushed berries, though there's nothing but grass and rock for miles. The scent makes your stomach twist, reminding you that you haven't eaten since yesterday. Not that you dare sit down for a snack out here. The mist begins to lift as the sun climbs, spilling gold across the land. You see more clearly now. The tracks veer toward a rise in the earth, a low ridge scattered with boulders. Beyond it, the grass thins, replaced by patches of bare earth that shine slick where the dew lingers. You climb the ridge cautiously, every muscle tense. The prints are clearer up here, and you notice something that makes your heart pound. The stride. It's massive. Whatever this was, it covered yards, and each bound, its steps spaced like a cheetah's but longer. Faster. You pause at the crest, scanning the horizon, and that's when you see it. Just for a second, a flicker of movement where the grass parts. Something feathered, not the soft down of a bird, but long blade-like plumes that shimmer in the morning light. Gone in a heartbeat, but your pulse hammers anyway. The speed of it, you can't quite believe your eyes. No cheetah could match that blur, and this was no mammal. You're looking at a predator from another age, one built for the kill, but clothed in feathers that ripple like fire when it moves. There's an odd comfort in realizing that humans have always been fascinated by speed. Even now, scientists argue over just how fast these ancient beasts could run. Some say over 70 miles an hour, faster than any land predator alive today. Others scoff and say that's impossible, that soft tissue wouldn't hold up at that speed, that bones would snap. But the prints before you don't lie. Neither does the gut-deep terror that makes you want to turn and run. Instead, you take a breath and follow. The grass is wet against your legs, the ground soft enough that your own tracks will be gone by midday. That's probably for the best. If this creature circles back, you don't want it to know where you've been. And just as you think that you spot something that stops you cold, a smear of blood in the grass, dark and drying fast. Not much, just a few drops, but enough to tell you that the predator's hunt wasn't perfect. Maybe it missed, maybe something fought back, or just maybe it's wounded. You kneel, studying the grass blades where the blood fell, and almost laugh at yourself. As if you could track a creature that moves faster than your eyes can follow. But you do it anyway, because what else is there? The oddest part of all this, you start to notice other prints, two smaller ones, softer, like something else was following the same path. A scavenger, a rival. Historians still debate whether these plains were shared hunting grounds or the domain of one supreme predator. No one agrees. No one ever will. The sun climbs higher, burning away the last of the mist. The plain stretches ahead, endless and empty. You think about turning back, about how easy it would be to say you saw enough, but you don't. You keep going, drawn on by the prints, by the promise of seeing what left them. You don't notice at first that the wind has shifted, carrying a new sound. A soft, rhythmic thrum like footsteps. Fast ones. And they're getting closer. You freeze. The soft thrum grows louder, like the drumming of 1,000 small hearts, or the patter of rain on a stone roof. Only there's no rain. The plain is bone dry now under the climbing sun, and the grass stands still, as if the wind has forgotten how to move. Your own heart picks up the rhythm, matching the beat of whatever approaches. You crouch lower, the scent of crushed grass thick in your nose, and strain your eyes at the shimmering horizon. And then you see it. Just a flicker at first, a ripple in the air like heat haze given form. Then it resolves into shape. A creature longer than a man is tall, its body sleek and built like a dart, every limb tuned for speed. Feathers cover it from snout to whip-like tail, but these aren't the soft, fluffy feathers you'd expect. They're more like the fletching on an arrow, stiff and streamlined. The sunlight catches them, and for a heartbeat, the predator looks gilded, as if it's been forged from copper and flame. It's fast, faster than anything you've ever seen. It runs not with the bounding gait of a cheetah, but with long, ground-hugging strides, legs blurring toes, splayed for balance. You can't help but whisper, "No way." And yet here it is, tearing across the plain so quickly that the world seems to lag behind it. Historians still debate whether these ancient speedsters truly outpaced modern cheetahs, but seeing this with your own eyes, there's no doubt left. The predator veers, chasing something too small for you to see at first, a lizard maybe, or a flightless birdling. The prey zigzags, desperate, and for a moment you think it might escape. But the predator adjusts effortlessly, its body curving like liquid muscles rippling under the feathered skin. A leap, a snap, and it's done. The predator barely slows as it devours its catch in 2 quick bites, then charges on hunger unquenched. You drop to your belly, heart hammering so hard you're sure it can hear you. The beast is close now, so close that you can see its eyes, amber with slit pupils that fix on everything at once. And then to your horror, it fixes on you. For one breathless instant, predator and prey lock gazes. You want to believe it sees you as just another rock, another lump in the grass, but you feel the weight of that stare, the calculation behind it. Can it catch you? Is it worth the effort? A joke bubbles up in your panicked mind. Probably not, you're stringy and not even that fast. The predator hesitates. It sniffs the air, feathers bristling along its neck. Then as suddenly as it came, it turns, drawn by another scent, another sound. You lie frozen, watching as it streaks away, legs pumping like pistons, tail streaming behind it. The speed of it is almost beautiful in a terrifying please don't eat me sort of way. You sit up slowly, legs shaking, and brush the dirt from your hands. The air feels different now, charged as if you've glimpsed something you weren't meant to see. The grass parts where the predator ran, but already the wind is smoothing it over, erasing the signs of its passing. You wonder how many times early humans saw such creatures and didn't live to tell the tale? You wonder if the legends of demons and wind spirits come from moments just like this. There's an odd fact you remember as you catch your breath. Some ancient cultures believed feathers were a symbol of speed, of a soul's ability to outrun death itself. Makes sense, you think. What else could wear such plumage except a creature that defied the limits of the land? You glance around, half expecting the predator to return. But the plain lies empty, save for the whisper of grass and the cry of a lone bird somewhere overhead. The tension eases from your shoulders, though your pulse takes its sweet time settling down. You think about the predator's eyes again, that brief connection. Historians still debate whether these creatures were truly intelligent hunters or if they ran on instinct alone. After what you saw, you're not so sure the difference matters. A breeze stirs the grass cool and sweet, and you rise scanning the horizon. There, far off, a dark smudge where the plane rises into a plateau. Maybe that's where the predator came from. Maybe that's where it's heading now. Either way, your feet start moving before you've decided it's a good idea. The thrill of the sighting. The need to see more, it drives you on. As you walk, the prints appear again clearer now on firmer ground, long strides deep where the predator leapt shallow where it coasted. You trace them with your eyes, marveling at how far apart they are. 70 miles an hour. Maybe. Maybe more. The breeze carries a new smell now, sharp metallic like the scent of rain on stone. Only the sky above is cloudless. You can't shake the feeling that the land remembers this creature, that the earth itself bears its mark. You pause once, glancing back. The plain stretches endlessly behind you, your own footprints already blurring at the edges. If you disappeared now, the wind would cover the evidence by sundown. The predator's prints might last longer. Or not. The land is good at forgetting. You press on, driven by curiosity or madness, it's hard to say which. The dark plateau grows nearer, promising answers, or more questions. Out here, it's all the same. The plateau looms closer with every step, its craggy edges jutting up like the broken teeth of some giant beast that died long before you were born. The wind picks up as you near it, carrying with it the dry, acrid scent of sun-baked rock and something else, something faintly rotten. You scrunch your nose and try not to breathe too deeply. The predator's prints lead straight toward this rise. And now, as you begin to climb, you see signs of its passing everywhere. Broken stems, tufts of torn grass, and here and there a loose feather black with an oily sheen that gleams blue in the sun. You scramble up a slope, boots sliding on loose stone, hands gripping sharp-edged rocks that slice tiny cuts into your skin. You don't care. You want to see. The top of the plateau offers a view that steals your breath away, not from beauty, though there is beauty in it, but from the raw, terrifying openness of the land. The plain stretches to the horizon in every direction, vast and empty, a stage built for speed. And here at the plateau's edge lies the predator's hunting ground. You spot the signs immediately. Bones scattered like discarded tools. Long leg bones snapped clean in half rib cages, picked bare skulls caved in by crushing jaws. And feathers. Not just the sleek, sharp-edged plumes of the predator, but softer ones, downy and pale prey species, perhaps. The scene reminds you of an abandoned campsite after a feast where no one bothered to clean up. But this feast was written in blood and bone. You kneel to examine a skull. Its eye socket shattered, its snout narrow and bird-like. Historians still debate whether this plateau was a shared kill site used by generations of predators or the personal domain of a single terror. There's no way to tell for sure. But the way the bones lie, the freshness of some, the scattered feathers, it feels recent. Too recent. You stand brushing dust from your knees and take a cautious step forward. The ground here is cracked, sun-bleached, and littered with fragments of ancient life. One misstep sends a sliver of bone skittering down the slope. The sound is louder than it should be, and you freeze, heart pounding. But the plain remains silent save for the sigh of the wind and the cry of a distant carrion bird. You spot a hollow in the rock, where the predator may have rested, smooth stone stain darker than the surrounding surface. The odd fact that pops into your head? Some ancient cultures believed that resting places of great hunters held power, that sleeping on such spots could grant dreams of speed and strength. You look at the hollow then, at the expanse beyond, and decide against testing that theory. You like your dreams slow and quiet, thanks. Moving on. You pick your way across the plateau, careful not to dislodge more stones. The bones grow thicker in one spot, piled as if something fed there often. You spot bite marks, deep grooves scored into the bone, teeth marks longer than your finger. Whatever hunted here, it fed with efficiency, stripping its kills down to the last scrap. The wind shifts again, carrying with it a new sound, a low, throaty croak followed by a rustle of feathers. You whip around, half expecting the predator itself. But no, it's a scavenger, bold and scruffy, picking its way toward the bone pile. It eyes you warily, head tilted, beak sharp as a knife. You stare at it, and for a heartbeat, the two of you share a moment of mutual distrust. Then it hisses and flaps away, leaving you alone once more. You sigh, tension draining from your shoulders, and let your gaze wander over the plain below. From up here, you see the predator's trail more clearly, the path it took after the hunt, the way it curved toward the far edge of the plateau. There's something methodical in the way it moved, a pattern that makes you think of a trapper setting snares. Historians still debate whether these predators hunted by ambush, by endurance, or by raw speed alone. Looking at the evidence, you suspect the answer is yes to all three. A shadow passes over you, and you look up startled. A cloud drifts across the sun, casting the land in sudden gray. The temperature drops a little, and with it comes a prickling on your skin, as if the land itself warns you. You take a step back, uneasy now. The plateau feels less like a vantage point and more like a graveyard, a place where the hunter is never far away. You decide it's time to leave. But as you turn, your boot strikes something hidden in the dust. You look down and see it, a single claw curved and sharp, broken from its owner long ago. You crouch and pick it up, turning it over in your hand. Its light, hollow in places, built for speed and precision. And holding it, you feel that same thrill, that mix of fear and awe that first struck you when you saw the predator's blur. You tuck the claw into your pouch. Not as a trophy, you tell yourself, but as a reminder. A reminder that you walked where the fastest hunter once ran. That you stood where few dared. And that the land remembers everything, even if the wind tries to erase it. The cloud drifts on the sun, returns, and the plain stretches out once more, endless, empty waiting. The plateau drops off sharply, and you find yourself edging down the far side, boots skidding on loose rock, the predator's trail pulling you onward. The plain below seems to ripple in the heat, the grass like waves frozen in mid-motion. Somewhere out there, the beast moves unseen, silent for now. But you know it's near. You can feel it in your bones, that electric charge that prickles your skin, that weight in your chest that says, don't be stupid, don't go any farther. And yet, of course, you do. Your feet hit level ground and you pause to listen. Nothing but the wind. At first, then a faint thud, soft but steady, like a heartbeat in the earth. You drop low behind a boulder, heart hammering so hard you swear it'll give you away. The grass parts in the distance, and there it is, the predator. You barely breathe. Its head is low, feathers along its neck bristling in the breeze, eyes locked on something you can't see. You follow its gaze and spot the prey. A small herbivore, wide-eyed and trembling, one of those shaggy things that always looks a little confused. It's grazing, unaware of the death that crouches just yards away. The predator freezes, muscles coiled so tight it seems carved from stone. Then boom! It launches forward, a blur of motion, feathers trailing like comet fire. You've seen cheetahs chase before in documentaries, maybe even in real life if you've been lucky, but this makes them look slow. The ground seems to crack beneath its feet. Dust exploding with every step. The prey bolts zigzagging wildly, but it's no use. The predator adjusts with ease, slicing across the plain in a perfect arc, gaining with every stride. Historians still debate whether these ambushes were the predator's specialty or if it preferred open chases, letting its sheer speed wear down its victims. Watching this, you can't imagine it needing any tactic beyond be faster. And oh, it is. The kill happens in a blink. One leap, jaws snapping shut with a sound like dry wood breaking, and it's done. The predator shakes its head once, twice to settle the prey's limp body, then stands over its prize, panting lightly. You see its flanks heaving, ribs like barrels under the skin, and you can't help but admire the sheer power of the thing. There's a strange grace to it, a rhythm that's almost beautiful. You stay hidden, of course, no sense becoming the next meal. But you watch fascinated as the predator begins to feed. No ceremony, no waste. It strips meat from bone with efficient bites, swallowing chunks whole. The odd fact that springs to mind: some species of these ancient hunters may have had jaws that locked in place mid-bite, giving them a crushing grip. No prey could escape. No one's proven it beyond doubt, but looking at this beast, you can believe it. A soft sound to your right makes you stiffen. You glance that way and spot another creature, a scavenger again, or maybe a rival slinking through the grass, eyes on the predator's kill. The predator lifts its head, feathers flaring, a low growl rumbling from its throat. For a moment, the scavenger hesitates, then backs off, unwilling to test its luck. Smart move. The predator finishes quickly, leaving little for the cleanup crew. And with a final flick of its tail, it turns and lopes off. Not quite at full speed, but fast enough to vanish into the grass before you can blink twice. The plain feels emptier without it, quieter somehow, as if the land itself holds its breath until the hunter is out of sight. You wait a while just to be sure it's truly gone. Then you rise, legs shaky, and step toward the kill site. What's left is surprisingly little bone fragments, scraps of skin, a smear of blood on the grass that's already darkening in the sun. The predator didn't linger. Speed seems woven into every part of its life, not just the chase. Eat fast, move fast, live fast. The wind tugs at your clothes as if urging you onward, and you obey, circling wide around the remains, eyes scanning for fresh tracks. The trail leads off toward a line of low trees in the distance. You wonder if that's where the predator shelters, if it has a den, a mate, young ones to feed. Historians still debate whether these creatures hunted alone or cooperated in loose packs. The evidence is scant, and no one's willing to bet their reputation on a theory that could be shattered by the next fossil find. You can't resist. You start walking, drawn by the need to see more, to understand what makes this creature tick. The plain rolls out ahead, heat-shimmering insects buzzing in the grass. The ground is firm here, the prints sharp-edged and deep. You marvel again at the stride length, at how little earth the predator touches with each step. It's as if it flies only anchored by the thinnest thread of gravity. A joke crosses your mind. Maybe it was late for something. A meeting, a date? You chuckle softly, the sound swallowed by the vastness around you. Out here, even your own voice seems small, fragile against the weight of time. The trees draw nearer, their shadows long and cool, promising answers or danger. But you keep walking because how could you not? You've seen the fastest hunter the world forgot, and now you want to know everything. The trees loom ahead, their twisted trunks leaning, as if they too are tired of standing against the endless wind. You slow your pace, each footstep measured, now the dry grass whispering against your legs. The predator's prints lead straight toward the thicket, and every instinct in you says to turn back, to leave the mystery for someone braver, or perhaps someone with less sense. But of course you don't. The need to see outweighs the need to survive. Classic human move. You crouch low, easing between the first line of trees. The air suddenly cooler. The light filtered green through the canopy. Here the grass thins, replaced by patches of bare dirt and mats of fallen leaves. The prints are easy to follow, deep, sharp, fresh. And then you hear it. A soft rustle. The snap of a twig. You freeze, breath caught halfway to your lungs, heart hammering in your ears. There it is, just ahead. The predator, half hidden by the underbrush, its long feathered tail twitching like a cat's. And its eyes, oh, those eyes. Amber alert, burning with intelligence or hunger or both. And they're looking straight at you. For a heartbeat, you can't move. You're a rabbit before the hawk, a deer in the headlights, except this predator isn't distracted by shiny things. You want to believe you're safe, that it doesn't see you as worth the effort. But then it shifts its weight, one clawed foot lifting, and your body decides for you. You stumble back, heart trying to punch its way out of your chest. The predator hesitates. Its head tilts as if considering. Then with a flick of its tail, it turns away, vanishing into the shadows, with a grace that makes you feel clumsy just for breathing too loudly. You sag against a tree, gasping for air, hands shaking. The oddest thought drifts through your mind. Some early cultures believed that locking eyes with a predator could steal its spirit or give it yours. You don't know who got the better deal in this exchange. Historians still debate whether these creatures regarded humans, those rare early ones, as threats, nuisances, or merely curiosities. There's no evidence either way, just bone and tooth and the occasional stone tool found far from any shelter. But standing here, you can't help but feel that you've been weighed and measured by something ancient and found uninteresting. The underbrush stirs again, but this time it's smaller things. Lizards scuttling away from your scent, a bird bursting skyward in a flurry of feathers and alarmed squawks. You exhale slowly, trying to calm the rush of adrenaline, and take cautious steps deeper into the trees. The predator's path is clear, and though common sense tells you to let it be, curiosity drags your feet forward. After all, you've come this far. You find the spot where it paused. Soft earth churned by claws, a few drops of blood darkening the soil. A scratch on the bark where its flank brushed past. It was close enough to touch. The reality of that sinks in and you laugh softly, though it comes out more like a nervous bark. You're not sure if you're proud or just very, very lucky. The forest is alive with small sounds now, the creak of branches, the hum of insects, the sigh of wind threading through the leaves. You move carefully, trying to make as little noise as possible. The trail winds between the trees, sometimes vanishing entirely where the ground hardens, then appearing again as deep gouges where the predator leapt a fallen trunk or skidded on loose soil. You think of the debates that fill lecture halls and books. Did these creatures hunt alone? Were they territorial? Did they see us as food? Theories pile up like bones at a kill site, and no one agrees on the answers. You feel like shouting into the trees, "Why don't you tell us?" But of course the predator keeps its secrets. Ahead the trees thin, and you glimpse a clearing bathed in dappled light. You ease forward, half expecting to see the predator resting, but no, it's gone, leaving only its prints and the memory of its gaze. The clearing is quiet, save for the rustle of leaves and the distant cry of a scavenger circling overhead. The grass here is flattened in places, as if the predator paused, lay down, or perhaps simply waited for what you can't imagine. The odd fact that comes to mind: some believe the fastest runners in history weren't cheetahs or horses, but creatures like the one you've been following, ancient predators, whose very bones were shaped by the need for speed. You can believe it. The land here feels built for running open, endless, a place where only the swift survive. You crouch at the edge of the clearing, letting the silence wrap around you, and for a moment you can almost hear it. The thrum of fast feet on hard earth, the whisper of feathers cutting the air. A ghost of the predator's passing. You shiver, though the sun is warm on your back, and then you rise, brushing dirt from your hands, and follow the trail once more, deeper into the trees, into the unknown. The sky darkens faster than you expect, clouds rolling in from the far horizon, thick and heavy with the promise of rain. The wind shifts cooler now, carrying the scent of distant water and something sharper, ozone maybe, or the bitter tang of the storm to come. You pull your jacket tighter, though it does little against the sudden chill. The trees around you sway and creak, their leaves rustling like voices, whispering secrets you don't want to know. You press on boots, squelching in the damp earth as the first fat drops begin to fall. The predator's tracks have become erratic, looping and doubling back as if the creature sensed the storm and grew uneasy. Or maybe it's you who's uneasy watching the sky darken, feeling the air hum with electricity. The odd fact that floats through your mind. Some ancient people believed storms were the work of sky beasts, giant predators that hunted the land with rain and lightning for claws. Tonight, you almost believe it. The rain comes harder now, drumming on the leaves, soaking your clothes, turning the ground beneath your feet into a slick mess. The predator's prints fill with water as fast as you find them, the trail dissolving before your eyes. Still, you follow, weaving between trees, ducking low branches, heart pounding, with each crack of thunder overhead. The storm makes everything louder, the snap of twigs, the rush of wind, the beat of your own pulse in your ears. And then you see it. The predator just ahead, slipping through the rain like a shadow given flesh. Its feathers cling wetly to its body, darker, now blending with the storm. It moves cautiously, head low, eyes sharp, muscles tensed, as if ready to flee or fight. You hold your breath, watching as lightning splits the sky, and for one heartbeat the world turns to silver. The predator stands outlined against the flash, beautiful and terrible, a creature that belongs to the storm as much as to the land. Historians still debate whether storms affected the hunting patterns of such predators, whether they used the noise and confusion to their advantage or avoided it altogether. From what you see tonight, you'd bet on the former. The predator seems at ease in the chaos, gliding between trees, pausing only to listen, to taste the air. You can't help but admire it, even as you shiver in your sodden clothes. You slip boots sliding on wet leaves and catch yourself against a tree trunk. The sound is enough to draw the predator's gaze. Its eyes meet yours again, and you freeze, rain streaming down your face, heartbeat loud in your throat. For a moment, the storm fades. There is only you and the predator, two creatures caught in the same downpour, both out of place, both searching for something. Then the moment breaks. The predator turns, vanishing into the trees, its form swallowed by rain and shadow. You let out a breath you didn't know you were holding. Heart still racing, hands trembling. The storm crashes around you, thunder rolling across the plain like the roar of some ancient god. You're soaked to the skin, cold and tired, but you can't stop now. Not when you've come this far. You move carefully, each step deliberate, the ground treacherous beneath your feet. The trail is harder to follow, the prints washed away or hidden by fallen branches. But here and there you spot signs of broken sapling, a smear of mud where the predator slipped. You press on the storm, your constant companion, the rain, a drumbeat that urges you forward. The oddest thing. Despite the danger, despite the cold, you feel alive. More alive than you have in years. There's something about being out here following this ancient predator through the storm that strips away everything else. No phones, no noise, no endless distractions. Just you, the land, and the chase. You push through a curtain of hanging vines and find yourself at the edge of a small clearing where water pools in low spots and the trees bow under the weight of the rain. The predator's tracks end here, washed clean by the downpour. But you know it's near. You can feel it in the charged air, in the way the storm seems to hush for just a moment, as if waiting. Historians still debate whether these predators feared the storm or ruled it. Tonight you suspect the latter. The predator is out there, somewhere beyond the veil of rain, moving with the storm part of it. And you're just a visitor passing through, lucky to have seen what you've seen. You sink to your knees, exhausted, and let the rain wash over you, feeling the earth soften beneath your hands. The storm rages on, wild and untamed, and for a moment you understand why the ancients told stories of sky beasts and storm gods. Out here, it feels true. The storm has passed, or rather it lingers at the horizon now, grumbling like an old predator, reluctant to leave the hunt. The air hums with the scent of wet earth and crushed leaves, sweet and sharp all at once. You rise slowly, stiff and dripping your boots, squelching with every step. The clearing is quiet now, save for the drip-drip of water falling from branches, the occasional flutter of a bird shaking out its feathers. And there, just beyond the far edge of the clearing, you see movement. You crouch low, heart pounding again, though this time it's more excitement than fear. The predator, but not just one. You rub your eyes, sure you're imagining it, but no, the trees part and out steps another and another. 3 in total, smaller than the one you've been tracking, or maybe younger. Their feathers are darker, glossier, their movements twitchier, less confident to coils. They dart glances at one another, shifting restlessly. Are they packmates, siblings, rivals? Historians still debate whether these creatures cooperated or competed, whether they formed loose bands like wolves or simply tolerated one another when the hunting was good. What you see now does nothing to settle the matter. The 3 circle each other in a wary dance, feathers bristling, tails lashing the wet air. One snaps at another, earning a hiss and a feint. There's no obvious leader here, no clear bond beyond the shared hunger that seems to drive them all. You stay hidden, barely breathing, watching as they pace the clearing, noses to the ground, searching for what the storm may have hidden. One pauses to lap at a puddle, another scratches at the soft earth, and the third lifts its head suddenly, eyes scanning the trees as if it senses you. You go still, heart hammering so loudly you're sure it must hear. The predator tilts its head, amber eyes narrowing, but after a moment it looks away, unconvinced or uninterested. The odd fact that crosses your mind: some feathered predators might have used vocalizations, strange clicks, trills, or booming calls to communicate across distances, much like birds today. The sounds historians believe they made remain a matter of fierce debate, reconstructed from the shapes of hollow bones and air sacs no longer with us. As you watch, one of the trio lets out a low, breathy croak that raises the hairs on your arms. A sound that's neither bird nor reptile, neither friend nor foe. The others answer with soft huffs, and for a moment, the clearing feels like the stage of some ancient play whose script has long been forgotten. You shift slightly for a better view, and the damp ground betrays you. A stick snaps beneath your heel, loud as a gunshot in the quiet. The predators freeze. 3 pairs of eyes lock onto your hiding spot, pupils, narrowing, nostrils flaring as they test the air. You curse under your breath quietly, PG rated of course, and hold yourself as still as the stones. The largest steps forward, cautious but curious. Its head tilts, feathers slick to its frame by the rain, every muscle coiled and ready. You can see the tension in its body, the balance of fight or flight flickering in its gaze. It takes another step and another until it stands not 20 feet from you, close enough that you can see the raindrops clinging to the tips of its feathers. Close enough that you can see the small scar beneath its left eye, proof of some past battle or a narrow escape. Historians still debate whether these beasts bore their scars with pride as badges of survival or if injury spelled certain death in such a competitive world. Either way, the scarred predator before you is very much alive, very much in charge. It studies you for a long moment, then lets out a soft exhale, steam rising in the cool air. And then, as if deciding you're not worth the energy, it turns away, tail flicking dismissively. The others follow the tension ebbing from their bodies as they melt into the trees, leaving you alone once more. You sink to your knees, breath coming fast, relief washing over you in waves. The clearing feels empty now, smaller somehow without the predator's presence, though the memory of their gaze lingers sharp as the storm's fading thunder. You rise unsteadily, wiping rain and sweat from your brow, and glance at the trail they left behind. Their prints overlap and weave a map of uncertainty and caution written in mud. You follow at a distance, knowing they're out there, knowing they could turn back at any moment. But the need to understand, to see more, drives you on. The trees thin. Ahead the plain, opening once more beneath a sky scrubbed clean by the storm. The predator's trail leads onward toward the horizon, toward whatever secrets this ancient world still keeps. The wind has changed again, carrying with it sounds that don't belong to the modern world. You pause at the edge of the thinning trees listening. There it is, a low, breathy call that ripples across the plain like a ghost's sigh. Not quite a growl, not quite a song, just a sound that raises goosebumps along your arms and makes the hairs at the back of your neck stand up. The predators are out there somewhere, speaking in voices the earth hasn't heard in millennia. You step out from the shelter of the trees, boots sinking into the rain-softened ground. The plain glistens under the clearing sky, puddles catching the light. Grass flattened in patches where the storm hammered it down. The predator's prints are clear again here, pressed deep and sure, the path weaving toward a distant ridge. And as you walk, the strange sounds continue echoing faintly on the breeze. You strain to catch their rhythm, to guess at their meaning. Historians still debate whether such calls were meant for mates, for rivals, for hunting coordination, or if they were simply the ancient world's version of small talk. Listening now, you could believe any of it. A cry rises louder, closer, and for a breathless moment you think they've spotted you. But no, the sound has a different edge to it. It's not a warning, not a challenge, it's almost sad. A call that drifts over the plain like the tolling of a distant bell, as if mourning something long lost. You shiver despite the returning warmth of the sun. You press on feet, splashing through shallow pools, eyes on the trail. The oddest fact drifts into your mind unbidden. Some ancient mammals are believed to have mimicked predator calls to confuse or scare off rivals. Imagine that something small, furry, and terrified trying to fake the voice of the very thing that hunts it. You chuckle softly, the image absurd and strangely comforting. The ground begins to rise beneath your feet as you near the ridge, the earth firmer here, drier, scattered with stones washed clean by the storm. You pause at the crest and look back. The plain stretches endlessly behind you, empty now, save for the glint of water and the silver threads of tiny streams the storm left in its wake. The world feels vast and quiet, as if holding its breath. Ahead, the trail continues winding along the ridge's edge. You follow, boots crunching on gravel, and the calls rise again, clearer now. They sound closer, more distinct. Not words, not music, but something that stirs something deep in you. A memory that isn't yours, an echo of a time when creatures like these ruled the land and voices like these filled the night. You round a bend and freeze. There they are, the predators. The three you saw before and one more larger, feathers darker, eyes brighter. The leader, perhaps. They stand on a ledge that overlooks a narrow gully, their bodies taut, their heads lifted as they call into the wind. The sound rises and falls, a chorus that makes your chest ache and your heart race. You crouch low, watching, feeling like an intruder in a ceremony you don't understand. Historians still debate whether these vocalizations were simple communication or something deeper, expressions of dominance, grief, joy. No one can say for sure, but hearing them now, you can't help but feel that these creatures speak not just to each other, but to the land itself, to the sky, to the ages. The predators stand there for a long while, calling and listening, their voices weaving with the wind. Then, as if on some unseen signal, they fall silent, turn and vanish down the far side of the ridge, their passage marked only by the swish of grass and the fading echo of their calls. The world feels emptier without their voices, lonelier somehow. You rise slowly, legs trembling, and follow the trail, once more drawn onward by curiosity, by awe, by the simple, undeniable pull of the hunt. The plain opens before you again, vast and shimmering under the returning sun. The predators are gone from sight, but their presence lingers, carved into the air, into the earth, into your memory. The wind carries the last faint note of their song, and for a moment you feel as though you've heard the voice of the ancient world itself. You descend the ridge carefully, loose stones shifting underfoot, the sun now bright and hot on your back. The plain stretches ahead, endless and glimmering, every puddle from the storm catching the light like shards of glass. The predator's trail runs straight and sure deep prints in soft soil, as if the creature ran without hesitation, without fear. You follow, heart beating in time with the rhythm of your boots against the ground, eyes scanning for any sign of movement. Then you see it. A flash of feathers low to the earth, moving so fast it barely touches the ground. The predator. It's chasing something, something small and quick, darting between the grass tufts like a ghost. A lizard. A mammal. You can't tell. All you see is the dance, the predator's body stretched, long legs pumping like piston's tail, streaming behind like a banner of dark fire. It's breathtaking, terrifying, beautiful. The chase is silent except for the thud of feet against earth, the hiss of grass parting. The prey zigzags wildly, trying to throw the predator off, but it's no use. The hunter matches every move, adjusts every turn, its body a blur of speed and precision. Historians still debate whether these creatures use strategy or pure instinct in their chases. Watching this, you suspect it doesn't matter. The result is the same. You crouch low, unwilling to break the spell, and watch as the predator gains ground. The prey makes one final desperate leap toward a fallen log. But the predator is faster. It surges forward, jaws snapping shut around its prize, and skids to a halt, the momentum carrying it in a graceful arc that sprays dirt and grass into the air. The kill is clean, quick. The predator lifts its head, feathers ruffled by the breeze, and for a moment you think it might look your way. But no, it focuses on its meal, tearing into it with efficient bites, wasting nothing. You stay hidden, heart hammering, marveling at the sheer power and grace of the scene. The oddest fact drifts through your mind. Some fossilized footprints show these predators could turn on a dime at full speed, their tails acting like rudders, their bodies built for agility as much as velocity. You believe it now, seeing how easily this creature danced across the plain. The predator finishes its meal, quickly leaving only scraps for scavengers that will surely follow. It lifts its head, sniffs the air, and takes off again, not at full sprint this time, but at that ground-eating lope that covers miles with ease. You watch until it vanishes into the haze at the horizon, a dark flicker swallowed by the light. You rise slowly, legs stiff, and approach the kill site. The ground is torn where the predator skidded, the prey's blood already drying in the sun. The prints are deep here, clear and sharp, the stride length astonishing. You measure it out with your steps and shake your head in wonder. Historians still debate the exact top speed these predators could reach. Some say faster than any land animal alive today. Others claim the evidence is too fragmentary to be sure. But seeing what you've seen, you have no doubt. This was a creature built for speed, a creature that outran the world. You stand there for a while, letting the wind dry the sweat on your face, listening to the quiet hum of the plain. The chase has ended, but the memory of it lingers, carved into the land, into you. The plain seems different now, smaller somehow, as if the predator's passing has redrawn its borders. You feel like a trespasser in its world, a visitor who has seen too much. You turn at last, following the faint trail left behind your eyes on the horizon where the predator disappeared. You don't know where it's going, what it hunts next, what dangers it faces, but you know you'll follow as far as you can, driven by curiosity, by awe, by the simple, undeniable pull of the ancient chase. The land ahead begins to change, the endless plain, giving way to scattered rocks and thorny shrubs that claw at your legs as you push through. Aye. The predator's trail is harder to follow. Here the prints less distinct on the firmer ground, but you spot them where the soil is softest, deep gouges, where claws gripped the earth in powerful strides. You wipe the sweat from your brow, the heat rising now that the storm's cool breath has fled, and press on. Heart still caught somewhere between fear and wonder. The ground rises slightly, and as you crest a low ridge, you see it a hidden nest tucked into a hollow among the rocks shielded by a tangle of thorn bushes. Your breath catches. The nest is larger than you'd expect, a rough bowl of sticks, leaves, and tufts of downy feathers that catch the sunlight like threads of silver. And within it, eggs. Pale speckled with darker spots, their shells faintly translucent in the light. You crouch low, drawn forward by the fragile beauty of them, aware that you're intruding, that this is no place for you. The odd fact strikes you: some fossil nests show evidence of feathers deliberately arranged to insulate the eggs like a primitive blanket. Looking at this nest, you can believe it. Feathers are layered carefully over the eggs, tucked in against the breeze that stirs the thorn bushes. The care is evident, a tenderness that jars against the image of the predator as pure, ruthless hunter. You scan the surroundings, heart thudding. Where is the guardian? You see no sign of the adult, no dark shape among the rocks, but you know it's near. It must be. A creature that runs faster than a cheetah would never stray far from its future. Historians still debate whether both parents guarded such nests or if the task fell to one. The evidence is scarce, as nests rarely survive the ages intact. What's clear is that these eggs were hidden well placed, where only the determined or the foolish would find them. You shift your weight, the ground crunching beneath you, and wince at the sound. The nest feels sacred somehow, and you're reluctant to disturb it. But curiosity keeps you there, crouched at the edge of the hollow, studying the delicate structure, the careful placement of every twig, every tuft of feather. The wind brings the faint scent of crushed grass, warm earth, and something sharper, predator scent. Your pulse quickens. You're not alone. A shadow flickers into the corner of your eye. You turn slowly, breathe shallow. There, perched atop a boulder, watching you, stands the predator. Its head is high, feathers slicked close to its body, eyes bright with focus. It makes no sound, but the message is clear. You've come too close. The nest is not for you. You hold still, heart pounding, aware of every breath, every beat. The predator doesn't move, doesn't rush. It watches, waiting to see what you'll do. And you do the only thing that makes sense. You rise slowly, step back. Hands raised, as if to show you mean no harm. The predator's gaze stays locked on you, but the tension in its stance eases just a little. It steps down from the boulder, body, fluid tail sweeping low, and moves toward the nest with a grace that makes you feel clumsy by comparison. It pauses at the nest, lowering its head to nudge the feathers, gently adjusting the cover, as if reassuring itself that all is well. You watch, breath held, struck by the contrast between the speed you've seen and the tenderness before you now. The predator checks the eggs, then lifts its head, eyes meeting yours one last time before it settles low beside the nest body, coiled protectively around its future. You back away slowly, every instinct screaming at you not to run, not to break the fragile peace of the moment. The predator watches but doesn't pursue content now that you're leaving, that the nest is safe. Historians still debate whether such creatures showed true parental care or if this was simple instinct. Standing here witnessing this, you wonder if it matters. The result is the same: a guardian, a nest, a promise of the future hidden among the rocks. You turn at last, the wind at your back, and leave the hollow behind, the memory of the nest and its keeper etched deep in your mind. The land flattens as you move away from the nest, the thorny scrub giving way once more to open plain. The breeze cools your sweat, carrying with it the mingled scents of earth, feathers, and distant rain. You follow the faint trail left by the predator as it departed for its last hunt, prints smudged now by the softening soil, as if the land itself is reluctant to give up its secrets. Your steps quicken despite the ache in your legs. You want to see more. You want to understand. It doesn't take long before you find the scene, the place where speed failed the predator. The ground is churned and scarred. The grass flattened and torn as if a storm passed through, though. You know it was no weather that did this. Bones lie scattered, fresh and broken. their marrow gleaming in the sun. The remains of the predator's would-be prize, a heavy-set armored creature too slow to flee, but too well defended to fall easily. You recognize the shape, one of those lumbering beasts with bony plates along its back, its tail tipped with a club of solid bone. You crouch, tracing the marks in the dirt with your fingers. The predator came in fast. You can see where its claws dug deep, where it skidded in for the kill. But here the signs change. The tracks of the armored creature are deep and erratic, circling wildly, fighting back. And there the predator's own prints, jumbled, confused, retreating. The odd fact drifts into your mind. Some fossil sites show predators with healed fractures, evidence of hunts gone wrong, of prey that fought back with surprising force. Standing here, it's easy to see how that happened. Historians still debate whether these fast predators preferred smaller, easier prey, or whether hunger sometimes drove them to take risks with larger, more dangerous animals. What's clear is that this time the gamble didn't pay off. You spot blood in the dirt, not the prey's, but the predator's. Drops at first, then smears as if it staggered, wounded, away from the fight. Your heart aches at the sight, a strange blend of admiration and sorrow. The predator, master of speed, brought low, not by a rival, not by age, but by the limits of its own power. You rise, scanning the plain, and spot the trail where it fled, limping now, its prints uneven, the stride shortened by pain. And you follow, because how could you not? The land stretches wide and empty, the sun high now, the heat pressing down on you like a weight. The trail leads toward a shallow ravine, the ground cracked and dry stones scattered like teeth along its edges. You pause at the top, peering down, and spot movement. A scavenger, bold and sharp-eyed, nosing at the ground where the predator passed. It looks up at you, feathers, ruffled, beak curved in a permanent sneer, then flaps away, leaving the place to silence once more. You make your way down, boots crunching on loose gravel, and find more signs of the predator's struggle. Blood smears on the stones, a feather caught on a thorn, the ground gouged where it stumbled. You imagine the scene, the predator so fast, so fierce, brought to this slow, painful crawl, every step a battle. The wind sighs through the ravine, and you feel the weight of time pressing and the echo of all the hunts that ended here. All the lives spent chasing speed, chasing survival. The oddest fact flickers through your mind as you rest a moment, catching your breath. In some ancient myths, creatures like this were said to outrun death itself, so swift that the reaper could never catch them. But here you see the truth. Speed can fail. Even the fastest fall. You climb from the ravine, legs heavy, and spot the trail leading on, the prints growing fainter now as the predator moves farther, slower, weaker. And still, you follow, driven by respect, by curiosity, by the need to see where this path will end. The plain stretches before you once more, endless and quiet, the wind carrying the scent of dust and memory. The trail grows harder to follow as the plain flattens and hardens under the midday sun. The predator's prints, once deep and sure, are now faint smudges in the dust, interrupted by patches of stony ground where no mark remains. But you don't need the prints. You can sense the path, feel where the creature moved, by the pattern of disturbed grass, the occasional drop of blood dark against pale soil, the odd feather snagged on a thorn or rock. You press on the silence of the plain, broken only by the soft rasp of your breath and the whisper of the breeze. And then you find it a resting place, or perhaps just a place where the predator collapsed for a time. The grass is flattened, the earth darkened by blood and sweat. Feathers lie scattered, some snapped at the shaft, others frayed at the edges as if torn free in a struggle. You crouch, fingers brushing the ground, and picture it, the predator, fast as lightning, now brought low, pausing here to gather its strength, to nurse its wounds. You notice the scars, not fresh but old signs of battles fought and survived. A groove along the rib where some rival's claw once tore, a nick at the edge of the jawbone, patches where feathers never regrew. The odd fact strikes you: some fossil skeletons show healed injuries so severe that the animal must have limped, struggled, suffered for years, and still survived. You wonder at the strength it must have taken, the will to keep running, to keep hunting. Historians still debate whether these scars marked the predator as dominant, a survivor of countless battles, or as weakened, marked for death by the next challenger. Looking at the signs here, you can't help but feel awe. This creature lived hard, ran fast, and fought fiercely, and here it is, or was, still pressing on despite the cost. You rise, eyes scanning the plain, and spot the trail again. The predator moved on from here, though slower now, its path weaving, as if each step required thought effort. You follow, boots raising little puffs of dust, heart heavy with respect. The land around you feels vast, empty, a stage set for a story that's nearly done. The wind shifts, carrying with it the faintest of sounds, the caw of a distant scavenger, the rustle of small things hidden in the grass. You glance back once, half expecting to see the predator watching you, but the plain lies empty save for the shadows of clouds drifting slow across the earth. You move on the sun, casting long shadows now as it begins its slow descent. The trail leads toward a cluster of boulders, their surfaces worn smooth by wind and time. The predator's prints circle here as if it sought shelter, a place to rest, to heal. You spot a hollow at the base of one rock, the earth inside cool, shaded, and still faintly marked by the predator's presence. A few feathers remain caught on rough stones, stirring in the breeze like a memory. You pause at the hollow's edge, unwilling to intrude further. The place feels sacred in its way, a monument to endurance, to survival, against odds that no speed could outrun. The oddest thought crosses your mind: in some ancient stories, the fastest creatures weren't just runners. They were messengers carrying secrets between worlds, between life and death. Looking at this hollow, you wonder what secrets the predator carried, what truths it wrote on the land with every step. Historians still debate whether these creatures died alone, whether they sought solitude in their final moments, or fell among their kind. No one knows for sure. But here, in this quiet hollow, you feel the weight of that mystery, the echo of a life lived in motion, in struggle, in fleeting triumphs and final losses. You turn at last, leaving the hollow behind, the memory of the scars, the trail, the resting place etched into your mind. The plain stretches before you, endless and waiting, the predator's story written in the dust beneath your feet. Night begins to creep over the plain, the sky bruised with deep purples and fading gold. The air cools, carrying the scent of dust and dry grass, and you find yourself moving slower now, as if the land itself urges you to rest. But you keep going, drawn by the faint trail that threads through the darkening world. The predator's prints are almost gone, just shallow impressions in the hardening earth. But they're enough. They guide you toward a low rise where the ground is bare, the grass thinned by wind and age. And there at the top of the rise, you see it. The predator, at last curled in on itself. Feathers ruffled and still damp from the storm, its sides rising and falling in slow, deep breaths. It sleeps or tries to, body twitching now and then with the ghosts of the chase. You crouch low, watching from a distance, unwilling to break the fragile peace of the moment. The hunter rests at last, the land holding its breath with you. The odd fact that drifts through your mind: some fossils suggest these predators slept much as birds do, heads tucked beneath wings, bodies coiled tight against the cold. Looking at this one now, you see the truth in that. The way it shelters its injured side, the way its tail curls protectively around its body, it's a pose of exhaustion, of survival. A creature built for speed, for strength, now still vulnerable beneath the stars. Historians still debate whether such moments of rest were safe for these beasts, or whether sleep was always a risk, a surrender that left them at the mercy of rivals and scavengers. Watching this predator, you understand the tension between need and danger, between the drive to recover and the fear of what might come while its eyes are closed. The plain is quiet now, save for the soft rustle of wind in the grass, the distant cry of a night bird hunting its own small prey. You shift your weight, careful not to make a sound, not to draw the predator's attention. It breathes slowly, deeply, as if dreaming of the hunt, of the chase, of the endless plain beneath its feet. You wonder what such a creature dreams of, if dreams come at all to a mind so tuned for the moment, for the speed, for survival. The stars bloom brighter as the last light fades and the world turns silver in shadow. You sit quietly, the night cool against your skin, watching the predator sleep. You feel strangely like a guardian yourself, now keeping watch over the hunter as it rests. There's an odd tenderness in the moment, a reminder that even the swiftest, the fiercest, must stop, must heal, must find peace where they can. The breeze brings the scent of rain again, though no clouds mar the sky. It carries the memory of the storm, of the chase, of the hunt. And as you sit there, the night wrapping you in its quiet embrace, you realize how rare it is to witness such stillness in a life made for motion. The predator sleeps, and the plane holds the secret of its dreams, of its scars, of its speed. You stay as long as you dare until the cold seeps into your bones, and the stars blur with weariness. And then as gently as you can, you rise, leaving the predator to its rest, the plane to its silence, the night to its endless watch. Dawn creeps up, slow, painting the horizon in soft blushes of pink and gold, the kind of light that makes the world feel young again. The plane stirs beneath it, the wind shifting from cool night breath to the warmer promise of morning. You rub the sleep from your eyes, your limbs stiff from the night's vigil, and rise from where you huddled beneath a low rock outcrop. The predator's trail still calls to you, and so weary but determined, you follow once more. The prints are clearer now, the soft ground damp with dew. Each step tells a story of the predator's weight shifted unevenly, of the pain that forced it to favor one side, of the will that drove it on despite the cost. And then as the sun's first full rays spill across the plain, you see it. The predator, awake now, standing at the edge of a dry riverbed, its breath misting in the cool air, its body tense, alert. The moment stretches the world, holding its breath. Then, with no warning, the predator launches forward faster than you thought it still could, a final, desperate charge after some unseen prey. The ground trembles beneath its feet, dust rising in clouds behind it, the speed of it staggering. You barely blink before it's across the riverbed, closing the gap between itself and whatever prize it seeks. Historians still debate whether these predators relied on one great burst of speed to secure a kill, or whether they preferred steady endurance, outlasting their quarry over long chases. What you see now feels like both a creature pouring the last of its strength into one last race, one last hope. The predator's body is a blur, feathers streaming behind like a comet's tail. Eyes fixed, jaws slightly parted as it closes in. But speed, even the greatest, has its limits. The prey, a nimble antelope-like creature, with legs built for bounding leaps aside at the last instant, hooves scattering pebbles into the air. The predator stumbles, its injured leg buckling beneath it, momentum carrying it forward in a tumble of limbs and dust. It lands hard, skidding through the dirt, a sound escaping its throat that's part snarl, part cry of frustration. You rush forward, drawn by instinct, by sympathy, by the simple human urge to help even when help is impossible. But you stop short, heart heavy, as the predator rises, shaken, battered, but alive. It stands there, sides heaving, blood mingling with dust, eyes bright with the fire that refuses to go out. It looks not at you, not at the fleeing prey, but at the horizon, as if daring the world to challenge it again. The odd fact flits through your mind in some ancient art speed, is depicted not as a creature but as wind-given form, as if the air itself could take shape and outrun all things. Watching the predator now, you see why. Even wounded, even weary, it is the living embodiment of that idea: speed, given form, given heart, given struggle. The predator turns, at last limping back toward the shelter of the dry riverbed, each step slower but no less proud. You stand in silence, watching as it disappears among the rocks, leaving behind only the prints of its final race, the dust still hanging in the air like the echo of its passing. Historians still debate whether moments like this mark the end of such creatures or simply another chapter in lives filled with trials. You suspect the truth is somewhere in between. Every race ends, but the memory of the run that lasts far longer. You kneel at the spot where the predator fell, fingers brushing the disturbed earth of the tracks, the blood. The wind stirs around you, carrying the scent of dawn and dust. And for a moment, you feel part of the story witness, chronicler companion to a race that the world will not see again. The sun climbs higher, its warmth spilling over the plain, softening the chill left by the night. The world feels quieter now, as if even the breeze hesitates to disturb the final footprints of the predator you followed so far. The trail leads on, but you can see where it falters, where the strides grow shorter, the weight uneven, each step harder than the last. You follow heart heavy, knowing what's coming, though you don't want to admit it. The ground changes beneath your feet, the soil growing softer where moisture from the storm still lingers. The prints deepen here, as if the land itself seeks to remember to hold the story of this final path a little longer. And then they stop. A small rise, the crest of a shallow hill, where the grass bends under the weight of the morning dew. The predator stood here last. You can see the mark where its body settled, where it sank to the earth, and let the weight of the world ease from its limbs. You approach slowly, boots silent against the softened ground as if not to disturb what remains. Feathers lie scattered in the grass, caught on stems, glinting faintly in the sun. The odd fact drifts into your mind. Some ancient cultures believe the last footprints of a creature marked a sacred spot, a place where its spirit lingered before joining the wind. You understand why now. The hill feels sacred. The silence, the breeze, the warmth of the sun, it all seems to honor the predator's passing. Historians still debate whether these creatures chose their final resting places, whether instinct guided them to some high ground or hidden hollow to meet the end alone. Looking at the scene before you, it's hard not to believe that the predator chose this spot, a place with a view of the endless plain it once ruled, a place where the wind can carry its story far beyond the horizon. You kneel, fingers brushing the last of the footprints, the soft indentation where its body lay. The grass has begun to spring back, the wind smoothing over the trail, erasing the story step by step. Soon, there will be nothing left but memory and dust. But for now you see it, the path, the struggle, the speed that once defied the world. You sit there for a long time, the breeze gentle on your face, the sun warm on your back, letting the image blur at the edges. The predator's story is written in the land, in the prints, in the wind that hums softly through the grass. And as you rise at last, turning to leave, you feel as if you carry a part of that story with you, a whisper of speed, of struggle, of the chase that never truly ends. The plain stretches wide and silent behind you, the last footprints fading, the wind taking up the tail. The plain lies quiet now, the last of the morning mist burned away by the sun. The trail of the predator, the feathered beast that ran faster than a cheetah, is gone, smoothed over by the wind, swallowed by the grass. But the memory lingers. You followed its story from the first fresh prints at dawn, through the storm's fury, past the clash with prey too strong to conquer, and finally to the quiet hill where speed ran out. You saw its power, its grace, the beauty of motion that no words can truly capture. You witnessed its struggles, wounds from battles, fought the final desperate chase, the moments of rest stolen where it could find them. And at last you stood where its last steps marked the earth, where the breeze lifted the story from the ground and carried it into legend. The wind hums softly now, as if whispering what you've seen to the waiting world. The plain feels empty but also full of echoes of secrets of lives lived at the edge of what is possible. You turn to go, your own footprints light upon the earth, knowing they too will soon be gone. But the story you carry, the story of the predator, The race, the end that will stay with you. A reminder that even the fastest fall, but that speed-like memory leaves a mark long after the world moves on.